Pouring live from the gutter.
Wow, we are. Give the
Oh, we're good.
give the little. If people are in here, please write in the chat box so we know.
Let us know.
Sports Mafia said, yo.
We are live, first time from Las Vegas. Thank you. I see we got a couple of people already in here. First time, not in crowded rooms. We are feeling the abundance. We are back. We got some people in the chat. I know we got some MTM family members. They're always showing up for the lives.
Why don't you hit them with the opening? Welcome to Have More.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Have More Than Money. Today, Jared and I are going to be diving into how high-ticket dropshipping can literally make you financially free. It's done that for us, and we're about to see it happen with some members, which is obviously super, super exciting.
Yep, and again, I'm so happy to see the people in the chat. We got Conrad, My6, Smooth Like Butter, Alex Seeley, Michael Portress. But yeah, guys, today's topic is really about the fact that there are a lot of people teaching dropshipping online that still work regular jobs, right? They're not making a full-time living from dropshipping, but they're flexing. I don't care if you're flexing sales, right? Do not put entrepreneur in your bio if you're working a job. Like, there's too many people out there on Instagram doing this type of stuff. And, we're not even here to expose them. We're just here to discuss discuss how to actually become financially free, how to really practice what you preach. Like, again, we're not here to talk bad about anyone else, but we're here to give you guys some insight on what it takes to actually make a full-time living from home.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why for me, it's like when people see, or you tell someone that, you're self-employed from dropshipping or whatever it is, all they really see is that you sell things online. And that's the issue that, from the surface, the tip of the iceberg, all you hear is, you run advertisements, you have a website and all this stuff. But, as I'm sure a lot of people in the chat know, and as we know, that kind of stuff, there's more that goes into it. And, there's so much that goes into it. And that's the thing, when you see all the flashy stuff, you can't get fooled by it, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly, guys. I mean, the truth is, right, social media is just a highlight reel. You're looking at someone else's highlights, so don't compare that to your real life. But yeah, back to the topic. The fact is, guys, when it comes to becoming successful, to actually making a full-time living from, what a real way of making money. Like the old thing that Bob Proctor used to say is, and I don't want to insult anyone, but working a job is attempting to make money, right? But making a money from your own business is actually making money. And that's what we're all about. We're all about actually making money, not attempting to make money. But what I will say is that attempting to make money is great because you can save up and then use that to actually make money.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's kind of the first bullet that we really wanted to hit was the mindset for really doing it. We wrote in the notes the mindset for success, but we're really talking about financial freedom. So I guess let's kind of start with that. When you think mindset, Jared, what is the mindset of becoming financially free?
Yeah, and before I answer the question, I just wanted to say that we are talking into the laptop, no mic. So can you guys just write in the chat if the audio is good or if we need to talk louder? I'll answer the question right after, but please write in the chat. Let us know if the audio is good.
Yeah, we're gonna be testing out. We're gonna be testing out a whole bunch of different things. So we're need the feedback.
All right, perfect. People are saying it's great. So Mike, I apologize. Can you please?
You're good. You're good.
Can you please re-ask the question?
So me myself, I'm a mindset guy, and I know that you're a mindset guy too.
Yeah.
And sometimes, honestly, we kind of get hate for really honing in on the mindset aspect for any business. This goes beyond dropshipping. So when you write and you hear the mindset that it takes for financial freedom, what does that mean?
Obviously mindset is a very cliche word, and it's hard for me not to answer this in a cliche way. But the truth is, guys, we designed our courses a specific way on purpose, and that is so there's a mindset course in front of the e-com course, right? When I've mentored people in the past, obviously, Mike, you would technically be my first mentee, and the other people that were in my close circle, what I found is that the reason why the people that are specifically close to me are outshining other dropship students is because the people that are really close to me learned very quickly that the mindset is what you need to succeed before you can start a business, right? And here's why. Is because in the end of the day, dropshipping or any other business model, it's just a vehicle, right? But the right driver needs to be in the vehicle. Otherwise, the vehicle is useless. So when it comes to the mindset, if you learn the mindset, right? And when I say learning the mindset, I mean reading and studying and mastering books like The Science of Getting Rich or The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And when I say mastery, like you did not master that book until you've actually done it and lived it. Like I've read The Science of Getting Rich 70, 80 times. I don't know how many times you've read it, but I've literally read that book 70 plus, maybe even 80 plus times. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, the same thing. Every single day, I literally have the chapters on Spotify and listen to them at least once a day. Not the whole book, just a chapter or two every single day. And by doing that, I'll give you guys a quick story. I know I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, but I'll give you guys a story, right? I was doing a different business a few years ago, right? And I was studying the mindset. I was really practicing it. And what happened was, out of nowhere, that business failed. And I was reading these books, and I had every reason to stop believing, right? Because my business, I did everything right, but the business failed. So I had every reason to give up, quit, not even just like on the business, but just on myself, right? But what the books told me was that if a business fails or if something fails, what that means was that you were prevented from doing that because something bigger was waiting for you. So what happened was, when my business failed, I had two choices, right? I could either, one, go into depression, give up, quit, never start again, whatever, get a job, etc. Or two, I can listen to what the book said. I can say, maybe this business failed because there's something bigger, something waiting for me. And exactly what I did was that. I literally said, you know what? I've been listening to these books this far. I'm not really successful yet, but it's gotten me to where I am today. And at this point, now I'm really struggling, but I need to use this more than ever. I'm going to put my life into what this book is teaching. It's either this is going to work or I'm just going to be a failure. And I put everything I had into that, into the mindset, started new businesses, and eventually found high-ticket dropshipping, which led us to where we are today.
Yeah, and there's obviously a lot to cover. It's a known thing that Jared loves his tangents. He tangents about everything. You just kind of get used to it. But there was a lot of great stuff in there, and I think that last story you told, obviously the same exact thing happened to me, except in a different business model where I tried something, it didn't work, and there's a saying, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And when you kind of have that mental shift that, when things happen, it's not, oh, why me? I'm done. You play the victim. When you instead can kind of find that half glass full and be like, all right, maybe there's a higher purpose for why this failure actually happened. That was the first thing I definitely wanted to comment on. You also said, it's one thing for Jared to talk about reading The Science of Getting Rich 70, 80 times. I can personally vouch that he's not lying about that. And, he means that so much. He's not just saying read these books just for, because it looks good on live. So for those who don't know, Jared invested in me for my first business. And, Jared, he told me beforehand, he was like, oh, I'm very serious about who I invest in, even though he's never really invested in anyone. He was letting me know he was very serious about it. And he said, if you want me to invest in you, I need to make sure that I don't question you or your mindset. And he literally handed me The Science of Getting Rich, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, and said, like, learn these books, the in and outs, and and come back to me. And I literally did exactly that. I read The Science of Getting Rich probably 5 times until I thought I knew it comfortably enough. And I went back and, we had a conversation about the book, and, a couple days later, we were jumping 2 feet into a brand new business model. And so, the point of that story is to let you know, like, he's not just saying that, he means it, and we mean it. Because, at this point, we've gotten to where we are based off the principles of, these type of mindset books and, subconscious mind books. So, why would we just abandon this now? I feel like it's our job as people who, teach a business model. We also have to kind of teach the mindset aspect of it. And so, that being said, it's really no joke.
Yeah. And I mean, the truth is, it's this type of topic is just not talked enough. It's not talked about enough because the people that are trying to teach just don't even know it well enough. How many people are successful one month and they just flex those sales for the rest of their life, but they're not using what we use. We literally practice affirmations every single day. I visualize every single day. There's this guy called Wim Hof. If you look him up on YouTube, just type in Wim Hof breathing techniques. We literally use these every single day. We visualize every day. We say affirmations every day. And then we work the rest of the day. I mean, obviously we hang out as well. We have fun. But that's the truth, guys. The secret to success is really having focus like a magnet, like the compass has magnetically. Like, think about it. Like, no matter what, if you hold a compass up, it will point in the right direction. That's the focus you need to have with success. You know, the same thing as a captain on a ship, right? He is literally focused on the destination. For us, it's the same thing. You know, we write down our goals and then focus on the destination, and the rest gets figured out in between, right? I like to say that when it comes to success, the in-betweens of you and your goals are the key, right? Because think about it. You create a goal for yourself, right? That's the end point. The starting point is where you are now, but everything in between the starting point and the end point is the actuality. That's actually living, right? I'll give you guys an example. You know, last year at this time, I was telling everyone I'd be making $100 grand a month at this time. I was only making $10,000 a month last year at this time. And now a year has passed. I'm not making 100 grand, but I'm making a lot more than I was last year. And that's what life is, right? Life isn't necessarily about hitting your goals, but it's about the in-between of you and your goals. And that's why you need to set big goals.
No, exactly. And that's the issue. I think goal setting, which is obviously something that, you know, we hone down in the mindset module portion of our course. But goal setting, you know, you're talking about setting goals like making $100,000 in a month. Like 99.9% of people who live don't set those kind of goals. And the issue is that out of that 99.9%, I would say 90% of them don't set goals at all.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're left with most people not even setting goals for themselves. And, you know, this is something that we always talk about is, you know, people set goals for themselves. You know, if I ask you conversationally, oh, like, what's your goal in life? And you'll say things like, I want to make a lot of money. I want to have a nice house with a wife and kids. But those aren't real goals. You know, if your goals aren't pen to paper and you don't look at them and read them aloud every single day, then they're not real in your mind. And I think subconsciously you don't even think you're that attainable. Yeah. If you know, they're just not real to you.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I like that you mentioned that most people don't set goals. You know, it's if you don't have your goals written down on your phone or in a notepad or somewhere, right, then chances are you're just not destined for success. You know, another great quote is if you tell someone to read a book and that's too big of a task for them, then they're probably not going to be able to handle the tasks that are actually involved when it comes to starting a business. So, you know, again, back to the mindset, you know, the goals, that's everything, right? Start off with your whys, right? Why do you want to be successful? What can you do for your family, for your friends, for yourself? Second is write down your goals. And then at that point, all you got to do is just keep looking at them, right? Like, think about it. You go insane when you know what you need to do and don't do it, right? So it's like if you write down your goals, right? Let's just say you write down that you want to be making 10 grand a month, 6 months from today. And that's a real goal. When you put real numbers on the paper, that's a real goal. Like Mike said, having a wife and kids or a husband or having a nice house, that's not a goal, right? But writing down having $1 million home in Los Angeles or making $10,000 a month from my dropshipping business, that's a real goal, right? You need to be specific with your goals. Think about your goals like this. If you were to send a text message to a friend, you would not write down a bunch of letters and have the friend figure it out what you're trying to say. You would send a clear and concise message, right? You would send a text message that they can just read and understand. Think about your goals like that. The more unclear your goals are, the more likely you will never be successful. So that's the starting point. And that's what we teach in the course. The first video that we give to our students is to set goals. And, you know, I see in the chat right now, which by the way, guys, we will get to all the questions at the end, so stick around. But I see in the chat, someone wrote SMART goals. And that's another thing we talk about in the mindset course. So I'm not even trying to sell you guys, but what I'm trying to say is that there's a reason why we purposely make everyone take the mindset course before they even start with the ecom course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because also when I think what's really important about setting goals is that when you're thinking about the future, you know, we wrote down that we want to talk about getting over hurdles. Yeah. And so I think that it's so much easier to get over hurdles when you have, you know, that main goal in mind. You know, it helps it, you know, we call it whys. You know, having your whys is just the same it plays the same role of, you know, making it worth pushing through. And, you know, because when you own a business, things go wrong and they go wrong and they go wrong and they go wrong. Yep. And so, you know, having goals that you believe in, you know, that you're vindictive about, it's powerful.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I'm glad that you brought that up, you know, the hurdles thing, because the truth is, right, human beings love to have things, right? Like, think about it. We all love to have the things that we have, but what do we love even more than the things we have? is things to look forward to, right? So if you have those goals that you're chasing after, then you'll always have something to look forward to. And let me tell you guys, there's a reason why I set long-term goals and short-term goals, because short-term goals I hit, but long-term goals I never hit, because every time I hit the short-term goal, my long-term goal changes. So I always have something to look forward to. I know, Mike, you're in the same position, right? Like, as human beings, we don't just want to have things. We want to have things to look forward to. Another thing with the mindset is that Tony Robbins always says this: the key to happiness is progress, right? Even if you aren't hitting your goals, even if you aren't making sales, right? I promise you that when your business is actually progressing, you will become happier each and every day. Again, you may not be making sales or money yet. You may not be making consistent sales yet. But as long as you feel the progress, you will become happier. Like I said, you're not going to become happy. Happy does not exist. You can never be happy 100% of the time. It's the same thing as being hungry. You know, it changes. But you will be happier as long as you are always making progress. That I can guarantee.
Yeah. No, it's well said. And I don't know if there's anything else you kind of want to add in the mindset portion, or if you want to kind of jump into some more, you know, physical e-commerce stuff.
Yeah, again, I mean, listen, we can go on about the mindset all day. Maybe we'll do a video if you guys want, dedicated just to the mindset. Obviously, we have a book for you guys for free that covers the mindset, and in the course we cover it. But yeah, I think we should get on to the business model that you know, we came to discuss today.
Yeah. So obviously, I'm sure most people know. I hope we have a lot of MTM members. Like we said, we're getting to all questions, so drop questions in the chat. You know, we love to help people, especially the people who are in the program. So keep on asking the questions. But we'll do a quick rundown, I guess, for people who kind of are a little bit new. I know we have some new viewers today. Give me a quick rundown.
Yep. So, you know, pretty much, guys, what we teach is called high ticket drop shipping. And the reason why we teach it is because, again, we do it, right? We literally make a full-time living from it and then some. That's literally what pays for the house. That's what pays for our entire lifestyle. And essentially what the method is, and the reason why we love it is because the foundation is so strong, right? You want to build a business that has a strong foundation, right? And I'll give you guys some pros and cons to having a strong foundation. But what we do essentially is we call USA brands that are already built, right? A lot of people like to ask us, like, hey, what do you guys know about, you know, building a brand? And the truth is, we don't even have to build brands with what we do. We just take brands that are already built, call them, right? So the beautiful part about a brand that's already built is they already have demand. They already have a customer base. They're already well known a lot of the time and already got a lot of Google searches. So we literally just call them, say, can we become a dealer for you guys? When we become a dealer, we're offered wholesale prices. So we will buy it for wholesale, but we won't buy it until we sell it. So we will list it on our website for wholesale, run Google ads to our website, and then if we make a sale, buy it off the supplier for a wholesale price, which is usually 20 to 30% less, and then they will ship it directly to the customer.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much, it's just basic drop shipping, except, you know, when you're doing it with high ticket products, you're playing with higher stakes. You know, You're talking about obviously more revenue, more money getting flown between, more risk, more profit, like however you want to look at it. It's a method it's a system that we've now found and built. And, you know, we've seen so many people come in and out of the system, and it's proven itself, yeah. I think.
I think one thing, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think one thing about what we teach with drop shipping, right? And this doesn't translate to our younger students. And if you're one of our younger students watching this, I don't mean to offend you, but what me and Mike teach, honestly, is a grown-ups game. You know, there's a lot of ways to drop ship, whether it's AliExpress or eBay. And I don't want to disrespect anyone that does AliExpress or eBay, but those are kids' games. Like we were doing that when we first started, put it that way. Like when we were 17, 18, 19, we were doing AliExpress and eBay. And now that we're in our 20s, we're actually making a full-time living doing this.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, this video was based about financial freedom. And so I think that's kind of what most people chase. And, you know, I feel like a lot of people, if you're watching this video, you know, you are about financial freedom and, you know, self-improvement, whatever you want to call it. And I think that's why I love this business so much, is because it has the potential. So someone like Jared, who, you know, owns 6 stores, and, you know, he makes a lot of money. He makes more than financial freedom, you know, whatever you want to call it. But someone like me, who, you know, it really comes down to this business gave me the financial freedom. It helped me not need to work a job. And now I'm going to go out and become wealthy. You know, I can start more stores, you know, I can keep on helping people, but what I do with that money now is what's going to bring me up to that rich level. But my whole point in saying that is this business, what it gave me and what I owe it everything to is the financial freedom part of it. And I think that's kind of what most people really desire, especially people kind of watching this video, is you're kind of just fed up with everything that comes to the 9-to-5 life. And, there's nothing wrong with it, but I think there comes a certain point in most people's lives where they realize that maybe it's just not, they're not passionate. They don't love what they're doing. It makes it tough.
And I'm glad that you mentioned like the different levels to, what we're doing, because the truth is, right, like to get to the game that Mike and I are at, the level that we're at, that is not necessarily a level for all people, right? Like Mike and I have given our all to high ticket dropshipping. So like I want you to look in the mirror and kind of ask yourself, like, what are you in this game to accomplish, right? Like, because the truth is, if you have a job that you're happy with, and you just want some extra income, you don't need to look at guys like Mike and I and say like you need to be like us. You should still learn from us, because you can make an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a month very quickly. But you got to remember that like guys like us have been doing this for years. We put our everything into this. We decided, you got to decide, is this going to be a hobby for you, something you do on the side, or is this going to be your everything, right? Like if you want to be like guys like Mike and myself, then you need to make this your everything. But if you just want to be someone that wants to make an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a month, $2,000 to $3,000 a month, well, the good news is that's not that hard. Like we can honestly teach you to do that within 3 to 6 months if you put the work in. And obviously that's no guarantee involved, but it's really not that hard to make an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a month. But you got to realize if you're going to want to make an extra 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month, it's going to take a few years. And, I've had students ask me, why is it that you're making so much money and I'm not? And, the truth is you just haven't been in the game as long, right? Like we've worked with over 100 plus suppliers at this point. We've spent over like $500,000 in Google ads. Like there's just levels to the game, right? And that's what you need to understand is, again, yes, you should still learn from guys like Mike and myself that have been doing this for years, but always remember, like you don't necessarily you might not want to be like us. That's what I'm saying. So ask yourself, like, are you doing this as a hobby, or is this something you're going to live for? Because I can honestly say that we live for this.
Yeah, and I love that you just said that last part. You should kind of decide what level do you want it?
Yeah.
Because, as I have been finding out, and I'm sure as more with more money and more businesses comes more problems. Yeah. And that's why I honestly think owning a business and being, quote unquote, have a successful business, whatever you want to say, isn't for everyone, because, that level of stress is a lot for people. Yeah. That's kind of why I think it's awesome how this business can give you what you want it from. Like you said, if you want to make an extra $1,000, $2,000 a month, that's all you. If you want to go and make, 6 figures and do 10K profit a month, you can get to that level. If you want to get to the point where you have multiple stores, 20 to 40 grand a month, you can do that. But you just need to understand that there's a price that you have to pay. And there's a price that you have to pay from the $0 to $2,000 profit all the way up.
Yeah.
There's a price with everything. Making money from owning a business, it doesn't come at a cheap rate. And I think that's something that a lot of first-time business owners really get held down about. Is I've seen a lot of people come in and out of our program, right? Now, when someone comes in, they say, "Oh yeah, I've owned another business. I've owned 2 other businesses before. I had these kind of problems and it shut me down." I can usually tell, if this is their 3rd business, like, all right, this person could probably have what it takes. And, I see them, go through the process and, they're able to just handle more.
Yeah.
Whereas, someone who for the first time is starting a business or doing high ticket e-commerce, they kind of get what am I looking for? They get I thought shockwave.
I think they just don't, I don't think they have the right, they just don't understand exactly what they're in for, right? Like the truth is the business that Mike and I teach, like we've done many businesses online and we've learned, like, not to say this is the best business online, because that would just be an ignorant thing to say, but this is the best business we've come across. I mean, we've tried, like I said, 4 or 5 different business models at this point. And this was the one that really we hit big with, right? So in the end of the day, obviously we're going to vouch for it. But like I said, that's why he said, when people that have usually started 2 or 3 businesses come to us, we can kind of feel like they have a better chance of being successful, because we just know that what we're teaching is so much better than almost any other business. Like if you're trying to start your own brand, that's way harder. If you're trying to do any other business, honestly, it's way harder. Because think about it, like logically speaking, right? what sounds more difficult? Trying to build a brand that has never been heard of, that nobody knows, that nobody has any reason to buy, or literally just taking a brand that's already built, already has a huge customer base, and just running ads to it? Like, think logically. Building a brand or just taking a brand that's already successful and selling their products?
And also, what I really want to point out, and what's really interesting, that you made that just brilliant. It's so much easier selling a brand. We have brands, these manufacturers that have been around for 80 years. And so it's obviously, 100 years, honestly more. It's much easier when they have that kind of known presence, on Google or whatever it is. Now, the best part about it is, we're saying this, but at the same time, we're at a point where we have so much skin in the game, and we've sold so many different product types. All of this stuff, we have so much like knowledge about what sells and what doesn't, is that we're at a point now where we think we can take a product that we know sells and turn it into a brand, and that, I guess, would be the highest level. But, once you have the knowledge, because when you build a high ticket store, you gain so much valuable knowledge. It's things that go way beyond e-commerce that can be applied to, just tactics, any different kind of business. Yeah. And that being said, that's what, we've thought about, we have certain product types that we know sell like hotcakes. We're thinking like, all right, maybe we'll just find a manufacturer in whatever country and slap a brand on it. Now it's ours.
Yeah. I mean, that's the truth, right? Like, we literally have products that we know if we put them in a warehouse, will 100% sell. How do we know that? Because we have them on our stores. They go on back order, and then we literally sell them all day, every day. And guess what, guys? We still sell items that are on back order. If you're one of our students, that's a very important thing to understand from us, is that we make the sale, we contact the customer, we follow up, and we see if they'll keep it. And guess what? 60 to 70% of the time they do. So we make a lot of money on back order. Like, I had an item that went on back order this summer, and we sold like $400,000 off just that one item, right? So now think about it like this. We had to eventually stop selling it because literally the manufacturer was like, all right, like, put it this way, they had a shipment coming in of like 30 units and we sold hundreds. So it became, a little bit of a mess. So we stopped selling the product for now until the manufacturer catches up. But my point is that, think about it like this. We sold it so quickly and so often that we know how to sell it on Google. Like, if we just warehoused it ourselves, we could have just kept selling them and never had to stop. So that's, one of the things that this game does is it makes you evolve mentally in the business realm. Like, now we understand what sells. We understand how to sell online. We understand how to run Google ads, how to deal with customers, how to prevent chargebacks, how to build a system, how to train employees. Like, there's so many layers that I can go on. And that actually brings me to what I wanted to say earlier, Mike. And I'm glad you mentioned this, is the more money, more problems, right? Like, obviously people debate that. Is that true, right? When you have more money, do you have more problems? And the answer is yes. Why? And here's why. Is because when you're an entrepreneur, what you are is a problem solver. So think about it. To make more money, that just means you solved more problems. So more money, more problems. It doesn't mean your life gets worse when you have more money. Obviously, your life pretty much almost always gets better. But in order to make more money, you must solve more problems.
Yeah, and I love that point because, I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to value. And this is something that, I have to always preach. I'm on Twitter, and the main thing that you have to get across on, the entrepreneur side of Twitter is value. You get paid according to the value that you bring. And so, if you're giving a lot of value, and, I consider selling products value, people searching for products that they need and us selling that, I consider that value. So, at the more magnitude that you do at that level, naturally the more problems that arise. And that's something I also love that you said, was you talked about having all that skin in the game. You learn so many layers, and it really comes down to, at some point, you kind of realize the scale, like what's possible in terms of scalability. We're just retailers for these brands. So a lot of the brands that we carry, they'll have, 5 other retailers selling their product. And so if we see ourselves selling a whole lot of this one product, we can only imagine, we'd like to get majority of the pie per se, but, other sales are going through these other retailers. Imagine you were the only outlet that people could buy this product from.
Yeah.
And, these are the type of things that, it's pretty crazy. The more that you accomplish, it's not even that crazy. The more that you accomplish in business and in life, kind of the more your mind opens up.
Yeah.
And, the realm of what's possible just keeps on getting bigger when you're thinking big, and then you actually start like achieving the big.
Yeah.
And I think That's momentum.
It's amazing that you said that, because it just shows with everyone. Like, there's no stagnancy in life. You're either growing or dying. This goes back to the science getting rich, where every fact you learn leads you to wanting to learn another fact. Every goal you accomplish leads you to wanting to accomplish a bigger and better goal. And the reason why we have our students start with Wayfair when doing product research is because Wayfair literally just started as a dropshipping store with the exact formula we use, right? And then as they kept growing and growing, and they were doing tens of millions a year, next thing you know, they start warehousing the best sellers. Now they have billions of dollars worth of warehousing with all the best sellers, so they know they're going to sell out of stock every time, which they do. And yeah, they're literally $1 billion company. And guess what? Instead of even creating our own brand, I've even just contemplated, like, I've contacted my suppliers and contemplated literally just warehousing the best sellers from the supplier, just to be like Wayfair, right? Like, Wayfair doesn't build their own brands, but like I said, they just started warehousing their best sellers to get better margins, right? Like, I have a best seller who pretty much said if we warehouse, they would double our margin. Now think about it like this: we're selling their product for $200,000 a month, so we're already buying the $200,000 of inventory every month. We're just drop shipping it, right? So I was like, why don't we just buy it up front to get double the margins? Now, I never actually pulled through with this, but I do believe within the next few years, I probably will make some sort of move like that, grow the company even bigger. Because think about it, the only reason any suppliers ever tell you no is because sometimes they don't take drop shipping. But once you get into the warehousing game, you're never going to get told no from another supplier. And that's when you really can grow it from, like, right now I have a store that does $4 to $5 million per year. And if I want to take that from $4 to $5 million per year to 40 to 50 million per year, this is what it's going to take, right? So I didn't know that before I started my dropshipping business. Obviously, none of us did. But as we grew the company and it kept growing and growing and growing, now we have a feel of what it takes to get from 4 to 5 million per year to 40 to 50. And I can tell you guys, not from experience, but from what I've learned, is when you make your company get big enough and to the point where you're literally scaring Wayfair, Home Depot, or Walmart, what they do is they start bidding on you until they try to buy you out for like $100 million. Like right now, I think I can sell one of my dropshipping stores, and we'll get into this topic later, for close to $1 million. But it comes down to, are we going to sell the dropshipping store for $1 million or put everything into growing it to a $50 or $100 million company?
Yeah, and we're kind of going off a little bit on, we're talking about the highest level here. And, obviously you can tell we're very passionate about, because we put so much time into this, we're very passionate about bringing it to pretty much the highest level that anyone has ever, that people have brought it to in this game. And I guess that's kind of just a testament to the kind of, we were talking about big thinking that we kind of do, but let's kind of let's bring it back down a little bit. And I really want to touch upon, you said closing suppliers, and I get so many DMs on Twitter and now recently Instagram about people asking, what are the tricks to closing suppliers? And while I wouldn't say there's a secret formula that you can do, what is your give me a couple tips of your biggest tips of closing suppliers.
Okay. Yeah. So, obviously, guys, again, what we were saying is really just the highest level stuff, right? Like, we've grown our companies to millions of dollars, and it's just like, how are we going to grow it from millions to billions? So don't get overwhelmed with what we're saying. Let's take it back to what the beginners should do, right? So first things first is you need to look for products, right? Then you want to build a website. Once you have the website built with some demo products, then you want to start calling suppliers, right? So you have a website to show for, which obviously we teach you how to do. You find products, which obviously we teach you how to do. So how do you find suppliers? So the first thing, right, is you want to go, like I said, to Wayfair, type in the specific product type. Let's just say hypothetically, gazebos, or let's just say patio furniture, right? You Google it, you put it, search it on Wayfair, filter by price, so you see $1,000 plus. Then you just literally write down all the brands, and then you start Googling the brands. Then once you Google them, you'll probably find small retailers selling them. Those guys are probably just like us, just like most people watching this. You can literally just start stealing all their brands, right? So that's the first thing we do. Then you get them on the phone. So listen, what I would do is I would look on their website. First, I would look to see if there's a dealer application. If there's a dealer application, fill that out first. Then once you filled it out, you can give them a call. Because if you didn't fill it out, you're going to call them and they're going to say, fill out the application. So you might as well fill it out first. So when they say that, you can say, oh, I already did that. Then they're like, oh, he's serious. Let me transfer him to the right guy.
Oh, he's serious.
And that's it, right? Next thing you know, you're talking. And then, I'm not going to give you guys the closing secrets. I'll save that for our students. but that's the whole process.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's the process. Going back, you said demo products.
Yeah.
Obviously, you need to make sure that demo products aren't the ones you're going to be calling for those suppliers. You know, we've had a couple students do that where they're listing the products and then calling that same supplier, and the supplier's like, why do you have our products on your site? So that's what we don't do. And yeah, there was something else that I wanted to touch. What did you say?
I kind of just went through the steps before calling suppliers.
Yeah. Calling suppliers. That is calling suppliers. The word's calling suppliers. I've spoken to a lot of students recently, and what they've been doing is they're emailing and filling out the dealer applications, but they're not calling.
Yeah.
So you need to get someone on the phone. And that goes for, honestly, a lot of businesses, or I would say any kind of business in general, is when you're able to get someone on the phone, the chances of you getting the deal done almost double, in my opinion. At least as long as you don't choke.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you don't choke. But if you read a script and you come off as confident and you're on the phone, they'll be able to tell that from a mile away. So don't be afraid to pick up the phone. If you're not good on the phones, call a supplier that has 30 retailers that you would never run ads to, and call them and try to close them. Read the script, get comfortable, because it really comes down to confidence. Yeah. Honestly, there's one thing I've learned, is confidence. People can feel your energy and your confidence, whether they're once in person or two even on the phone. They can kind of get that energy. Yeah. So, don't be timid, even if it's your first time. Act like it's your thousandth time.
Yeah, and I don't want to be this guy, but the truth is, you're only going to get confidence with experience. And
he's that guy.
I am that guy, and I'm saying this because I know, right? Like, I've called hundreds of suppliers now. So now when I call a supplier, it's like not only am I not shy about it, but I'm literally going into the call saying, like, if you don't approve me, then that's the biggest mistake you've ever made.
I'm cocky.
Exactly.
You're not cocky. You're cocky.
I'm not even confident anymore. I'm cocky. And I'm not saying that being cocky is good, but I mean, don't be overly cocky, but be cocky enough to say, like, you're going to tell me no, like, good luck. That's what I do. Honestly, like I said earlier in the video, I do over $200,000 a month for just one of my suppliers. So when I call a supplier for the first time, I tell them that sometimes. If they're hesitant, I'm like, look, we literally do $200,000 a month for some of our brands. You're going to say no to that potential, like, possibility. Like, I was like, let me talk to your boss. Let me tell your boss that you're going to say no to a potential $2 million a year partnership. I want to know how he'd feel about it. And a lot of the times it works. Sometimes they still say no. Sometimes the boss says no. And that's okay, guys. We don't get told yes by every supplier, especially during COVID. Obviously, the percentages have even gone down more. Don't get me wrong. I closed a supplier literally Monday. What's the day? Wednesday. Yeah, I closed a supplier literally Monday. Don't get me wrong. I'm still closing suppliers. I know Mike is. Matter of fact, Mike just closed and launched a supplier last week. And how much have we done in sales?
12 or 13K so far.
12 or think about it, guys. Like, even though we're doing so well, we're still closing new suppliers, right? And here's why. Because, like, I took my foot off the gas for a second, right? And guess what happened? Was I saw someone else become really successful with a new supplier. And you know what my first thought is? Damn, I could have done that, right? Like, think about it. Mike made 13K more in sales than he would have made last week if he didn't, think about it. If he just let this week pass without closing and launching the new supplier, he would have been leaving 13K on the table. And obviously the week is only in the middle. Like, we still, and the month, the year. And that's the beautiful part about these suppliers, right? Is you don't even just make money off them for a week. You can make money off them for years. I've been making money off some of the same suppliers since literally 2018.
Yeah, and I mean, that kind of just comes down to, one of our favorite part about this business is the sustainability of it. And, once you have a supplier relationship, as long as you don't do things like, break the MAP policy or misrepresent the brand, you have that relationship for life. That relationship isn't going anywhere. So if you know that they sell, I've seen suppliers, maybe they're seasonal products or whatever it is, but for the most part, if they're being profitable, you now have that forever. And not only do you have that to make sales every month, it's also increasing the value of this asset that you've built. So building an e-commerce store in this manner, in a high-ticket dropshipping way, you're building an asset. And this is something that we've seen people sell these exact stores for over $250,000. So think about that. We've seen people put 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years into a store, have it be profitable, and then sell it for 200, 250 grand. That's insane. And that's what you're doing is when you find these profitable relationships, partnerships, supplier agreements, whatever you want to call it, you have now added to your asset and you're just feeding it. And I think of it as like as a cow that you're feeding that you're going to sell off someday. You know, I'm just going to keep on feeding it with profitable suppliers, and eventually I'll just be able to sell the whole golden goose.
Yeah. Well, actually, in our last video, we interviewed Mike, my cousin, and we actually spoke about it in the video. If you guys want to check it out later, he actually sold a store for $130,000. And then that store, the guy who bought it, right, didn't even know high ticket drop shipping. But here's the thing, right? With what we teach, it's so like the foundation is so strong, it's so sustainable that like this guy didn't know high ticket drop shipping. He bought a store for $130,000, let the ads run. The ads literally ran for years, and he still continued to profit well over 5 figures per month. Then he ended up selling the store a few months ago for $350,000. This guy bought the store for $130,000, sold it for 3 times the price without making a single change, right? Like that's the thing. There's nothing in the world that's giving any sort of returns like what we're teaching, in the sense where we literally run ads, have to make little adjustments to it once, twice a month even. And we've been making sales for years without having to make changes. We don't have to keep making new videos, new ad copy, finding new products. We're finding new products because we want to. Like we just want to get as rich as possible. But, you know, we don't need to at this point. We can literally live off what we have already for probably the rest of our lives. But, you know, we're not satisfied.
Yeah, and we don't want to, you know, come out and bash the AliExpress, although we kind of do that for a living. But the AliExpress drop shipping, but that's the exact opposite of what we're doing. You know, I talked about building the asset that is this online business. But when your asset is a viral product, which is, you know, for those who don't know, we lost a lot of money trying to get the next viral product from AliExpress. Even let's say you hit 1, 2, 3 viral products and you're able to do $1 million in sales, that online store is not valuable because eventually the viral product dies down. Yeah. And that's why, you know, those kind of stores, they're, you know, they can be very nice for a very quick profit if you can make it, you know, if you have the right copy, video, product page, whatever you want to, whatever else that goes into it. But you're not building an asset. And so I would so much rather give my time to something that has the possibility to make me to turn a profit month after month, and then also be my golden goose to sell. Yeah.
And while, you know, I don't have, like, I think going viral is awesome, right? I think if someone goes viral, that's amazing. But I think, you know, for anyone watching this, I think for you to put your efforts into trying to go viral, you know, it's like trying to become a famous actor, famous rapper. Like, can it happen? Yes. But what are the chances? Very slim, right? But to build something based off a strong foundation, it may not sound as appealing as going viral because it's not going to happen overnight, right? Going viral is overnight. But to build something with a strong foundation, I mean, think about, like, that's worth putting your time into, right? Like, think about it. Mike and I have built our businesses because of the foundations, and that's why they're standing years later and we're financially free till this day. Even with our personal brands, right? And we'll get into this later. You know, we're not going viral, but we're slowly building a brand off a strong foundation, off being legitimate business owners, legitimate mentors, right? We're not scamming people. We're just giving people real value. We're not doing crazy things to go viral. We're literally just having conversations about what we've done with our lives and what we know can help others, posting it, and we're slowly growing a following. And, you know, that's me saying thank you to everyone watching this. But again, the point of why I'm saying this is because, like, trying to go viral is a waste of time. Building something off a strong foundation is not. And, you know, that's exactly what we teach. That's exactly what we do. And the best part is once you become successful once, it becomes so easy to have, like, that vision of strong foundations, right? Like, you understand what is and what isn't. And better yet, you're not in a rush to be successful. You're thinking with a clear head. And that's why when I built my first successful business, it wasn't hard to build a second, and not even build a second, but invest in someone like Mike and other people for them to build a second, third, fourth, fifth, and now 6 different drop shipping stores, is because, you know, after the first one, it kind of just becomes clockwork.
Yeah, no, that's really well said. And I wanted to just touch upon what you said before, but it slipped my mind yet again. Pissed me off. But yeah, I mean, that's it. Oh, that's what I was going to say is I thought, from my opinion, when you said that about going viral, in my opinion, when you try to go viral, you're chasing it. You know, you're like chasing success. But, you know, from my perspective is if I can just continue to build and give out as much value, we talked about value before, the importance of giving out value. If I can just keep on giving value, it'll kind of just come to me in a way. And so that's why, I honestly, I love, this is something that Jared doesn't like, but I still love closing customers because I love helping people and I love just getting the job done. And so, that being said, I love seeing, the only thing better than, succeeding myself is now going out and helping other people succeed. And so, that's why, that being said, if you have questions, drop them in the chat, no matter how specific, we'll get to them. But yeah.
And Mike, it's not that I'm against closing customers, right? Because a lot of people watching this are in a stage where they're probably starting to close customers. If you just start running ads, then you should be closing your own sales, right? But eventually you get to a point where if you're going to take the store to millions in sales, or even tens of millions and hundreds of millions, you can't be closing sales yourself. And that's what I tell Mike. He's already done, I think, 1.5, 1.6 million, and it's amazing. I'm happy to see he's still closing sales, but eventually I want to turn it to a point where, we're just getting way too many calls per day, and it's just not the best use of his time to be closing customers. And obviously I've gotten to that point. I haven't spoken to a customer myself on the phone, and I couldn't even tell you how long, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And, we obviously, I have employees and he has employees who, that's the beautiful part about this is, when you build a real business, it's supposed to be, you're supposed to be able to outsource it. And so, yes, that's another great point is, when you're able to free yourself, a lot of people start businesses, but they really just start another job for themselves. And, if you're giving up all your time to your business in the long run, obviously you have to put the work in at the beginning. That goes without saying. But, if you over the long run, in order for your business to succeed, it requires your time. It's not a great business. So, when we outsource and we're able to hire, virtual assistants to do the customer service, answer emails, answer live chats, whatever it is, it's like the weight is just lifted off of your shoulders. And now I'm able to go out, we're able to go out and keep on building, start new businesses, grow our current businesses, help other people grow their businesses, whatever it is. That's the beautiful part about outsourcing.
Yep. And I'll show you guys, sales from today. And again, this isn't even to brag, but this is to tell you guys that, if you want to get to this point, the outsourcing is key, right? So strong foundations mixed with outsourcing and everything in between. I don't know if it's backwards on your guys' end. It looks backwards from here, but that's almost 20K. And I'm showing it to you to prove to you that the fact is that here's the steps, right? So just to recap the video before we get into the questions, right? First step is having the right mindset. And that is why, again, we start every one of our students with the mindset course. Honestly, the best starting point would be either my book or the Science Getting Rich, then the mindset course, then the e-com course. Because again, if you try to tackle a business with the wrong mindset, it doesn't matter. You'll fail. There's no other way to put it, right? Once you have the right mindset, then you want to learn high ticket drop shipping from us or, anyone, but obviously I would endorse us. The steps are build the site, find the products, put the demo products on, call the suppliers, close the suppliers, get the suppliers on the site, run the ads. Once the ads are running, you're making sales, it becomes too hectic for you, outsource, build a system, scale that system, live the life of your dreams.
Yeah, no, that's beautifully said. And he was trying to be humble. He said, I would endorse us, whatever that means. But I mean, that's exactly true because I don't know anyone else doing it at a higher level. So, that's such a big point is, if you want to succeed in any business, you need to find people who have done it and learn exactly what they've done to get to that point. And, that's kind of the reason that we're out here trying to help as many people as we can. And you want to get to some questions?
Yeah. Before we get to the questions, I do know, guys, I see there's 22 people watching and there's only 3 likes. So please, I know it's very good for the YouTube algorithm for people to like the video. So please
comment, whatever you guys do.
If you enjoyed the value, like it. If you didn't, don't like it. I don't want you to lie. But again, if you enjoyed watching us, if you enjoyed the value, then please give the video a like. And I guess, Mike, if you want to start going through the questions up and down from the top.
Yep. So it seems our audio is good. Yeah, we're still making changes. Our live streams will probably be in 10 different locations. And
we'll have a lot of new content coming, not just, live streams and talks, but hopefully some day in the life content so you guys can see what we actually do, the work we do, the sales we make, everything.
All right, so we got Elaine with the first question. Tips on responding/ignoring to family members who don't believe in you and almost want to hold you back. That is a really, really great question, Elaine. I'll start us off because there's almost different levels to it. There is the family members and friends who don't understand it. So, obviously the whole job thinking and living life that way is favorable to most, or they think it is because it's stable. And so when you go out, the first level of it is people trying to convince you out of doing it because they think they know what's best for you. And that's tricky because a lot of times they don't come from a place of hate. This first level, it comes from a place of them trying to look out because, I guess they would think it's a risk. But like we talked about before, when you have that end goal in mind, you really just have to kind of shrug your shoulders. Now, hate, on the other hand, people trying to hold you back and purposely trying to bring you down, I think that comes from a place of envy and jealousy almost, that people kind of, they're envious deep down. And, this sounds very, very Gary Vaynerchuk of me, but, you need to respond to those kind of people with just compassion and just feel bad, understand where they're trying to come from. But at the end of the day, you need to focus on you and your vision. Yeah. And that's really all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. I like to say, you need to have the mentors and listen to your mentors only. Both of our family did not want us to do what we decided to do. And if we would have listened to them, we probably would have been laid off when the coronavirus came. But instead, we ended up getting way wealthier than we would have if the virus did. Now, I'm not saying that I'm happy for the virus because obviously I hate that it happened. But the point is that we were ready for it because we didn't listen to those people. And that's just the reality is, unless you want to be like someone, don't listen to them. Honestly, I hate to say this, but I didn't listen to my parents. I didn't listen to a lot of people that I probably, to someone else I should have listened to, but I knew what was best for me. I had mentors and I listened to them. So, I'm not saying that, if you're one of our students, you should only listen to us, but I'm kind of saying that.
Yeah. And honestly, and also to the other students in the chat, obviously we're your mentors for high ticket dropshipping. But if you guys have any mindset questions, or, you feel like you're in a place where you have no one else to talk about your business, because I know kind of what that's like, when you're surrounded by people and who just don't kind of think on that same level. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. You don't hate them for it. Just you can't, relate as perfect as well. Write us a message in the chat, spark up a conversation, let us know how you feel. That's totally okay.
Yeah.
Graham, hey guys, it's Graham from the group. I know Graham, how you doing? Hope you're both crushing it and enjoying the new place. We are. Here's a question. What's the scaling process like once you've closed most of the suppliers in your niche? So good question, Graham. And this kind of goes to anyone else who's already taking action in high ticket dropshipping. The scaling process, I'm going to try to just shorten the whole process down very, very briefly, is finding suppliers, running them in the ads, knowing when to cut them, because obviously that's the most important thing, is profitability. Now, obviously in a month, if you're testing 5 suppliers, maybe one of them is profitable, your month probably isn't profitable. So you might think that's a loss for you, but that's really a win. So now that you have one, maybe it's time to cut the rest and keep on bringing in suppliers, where eventually you'll be at a point where you'll have maybe 5 or 6 or however many suppliers that are profitable month after month. And at that point, that's when you can start collecting the process. But, start collecting the money. I said process, but in the beginning, it is a little bit of testing different suppliers. We haven't really seen anyone go down a whole lot of money because you're usually able to make sales, but it's about finding the consistently profitable suppliers. And then, like I said before, keep on feeding the asset.
Yeah. And, there's a bunch of things you could do, right? Separate the winning suppliers into a different campaign than the testing suppliers. You can, you want to maximize your gains. You want to maximize your impression share. But the truth is, we also teach to make stores that are general so you don't ever run out of suppliers. Eventually, if your store is too niche specific, yes, you will run out of suppliers. And once you're getting the maximum impression share, once you're as profitable as you can be, and there's really no more there does come to a certain point where you really do max out the supplier on the ads. That will happen, because think about it. If you're running a certain product, there's going to be other people selling the product, and then there's going to be people buying the product. But, you can't just cause 1 billion people to buy a product, right? Let's just say hypothetically you're selling trampolines, right? There's not going to be 1 billion people looking to buy trampolines. There might be a few million, but once you've done everything you can to reach those few million, there's really only one other option. That's other products. So that's why, we teach people to make general stores so you never run into that problem of running out of suppliers to call.
Yep. Michael P, I hope you're doing well, Mike. We haven't talked in a while. He said, at Elaine, prove them wrong. Yep. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, if people are going to hate, it should really just be fuel for the fire. So you're completely right, Mike. Prove them wrong. Genevieve said, couldn't agree more about changing/shifting the mindset. Yes. It's shifting your mindset is not easy because, however old you are, whether, you're 20 years old or you're 60 years old, let's say you're 20 years old. For 20 years, you've known nothing besides one way of thinking. It's not easy to completely make a shift in your mind and, do a complete 180. Yeah. But, it takes consistency. Consistency wins. Andreas, my man. Hey, guys, who is the author of The Science of Getting Rich? I think someone answered, but it was Wallace D. Wattles.
Yep, Wallace D. Wattles. Someone answered right under it.
Is about hitting small goals. I believe that cultural change is a big part.
Yep.
Interesting.
I definitely agree. Elaine's mentioned SMART goals, which obviously we've talked about. We talk about in the course, actually. So
Elaine, I hope you pulled that from the course. But for anyone who doesn't know, SMART stands for specific, measurable, actionable, result-oriented, time-based goals. Every one of those are just as important as the rest. Alex, you guys emphasize the mentally people are too focused on the quick cash. The money will come determined goal-driven work.
Yeah,
that's beautifully said, Alex. One of my favorite quotes, which I'm the quote butcher, so I'll probably say it a little bit wrong, is you can't chase. Don't try to there I go. Don't try to chase success. Like I said before, if you chase it, it's going to elude you. You need to become the type of person that success will naturally come to you. And that same goes with chasing money. Anytime people try to DM me or whatever, and they say, hey, I want to make more money, that's not the best motive. Your motive should be your freedom, what you want to do with your free time. That's the ultimate driver.
Yeah.
Chariot, why are you shirtless?
Good one.
Sports Mafia. Yeah,
Good
hopefully
one.
next time he brings some sleeves.
Unlikely.
Top J-Bands. How you doing, J-Bands? Top achievers. Looking at the best possible outcome. That's how you do it.
Yep.
Hey, congrats on the first sale too, J-Bands. We're talking law of attraction.
Yeah.
Josh is one of our students. Tweeted yesterday that I don't remember it exactly, but he said he felt it coming, felt the momentum coming. Next day makes his first sale for $2,400.
I mean, if you guys want to see the exact, he actually posted it in our members only group chat. So if you want to see Josh's story, J-Band's story, sorry, I don't mean to blow the cover, but if you want to see his story, join our group chat. Obviously, the best way to do it is to sign up for the mentorship, which you can find the link in our bio, or you can shoot us a DM on Instagram.
Sports Mafia also said, make the supplier feel like they need you to sell their products, not the other way around.
I agree.
That's a great point, Sports Mafia. And, Jared kind of touched upon it before, was, about kind of being cocky where, you don't want to come across as cocky, like we said, but let them know that, hey, I'm going to either sell your product or I'm going to sell your competitor's product. So which would you rather?
Yeah.
Elaine, can you say more about how the Google algorithm might provide free traffic by showing your store on Google Ads shopping if your store is doing well and making sales? So, Elaine, funny, you don't even need to be making sales. So Google Merchant actually recently released, I believe it was about a month ago. I don't know if it was COVID related or what, but they pretty much started giving free shopping impressions for stores that use the Merchant Center. So, I started realizing, like I said, about a month ago, I was just making sales on suppliers that I cut in my ads, but still were live on my site Merchant Center. So you don't need to be making sales for that to get that free traffic. They're just, I don't know. I'm not going to say no to the program.
I mean, one thing I would say, Elaine, in regards to the Google algorithm is it does start to favor you after a while. What we've seen is stores literally blow up without even making really major changes. And the reason being, I couldn't tell you. I think a big part of it is consistency. The Google algorithm, it really does favor those who spend more with it. It wants the people, the businesses they know are going to spend more. It will favor you. And like I said, I've seen businesses that have ran ads for 6 to 12 months quadruple in sales from literally the same supplier, which was crazy because it was the same supplier that this company was running for the last 3 months, but the next 3 months it was tripled in sales. And at that point, the only answer I would have is the Google algorithm. The algorithm just did something differently. I don't know.
Yep. It gets optimized, for sure. Elaine, you also said, at what point did you decide to outsource tasks? For me personally, I think it's hiring your first employee. It's something I was actually talking to Jared or Pete before about. You just kind of know. Like there comes a point where all the emails, all the calls, it all just becomes very overwhelming. And usually there's a direct correlation between this overwhelming feeling and your store sales. So it kind of makes sense fiscally, and it just makes sense. So, you can now go out and work on more important tasks.
Yeah. Like I mentioned to Mike earlier, he likes to still close sales, but like I said to him, if we're going to grow this company to $10 million, $100 million, you're going to have to give that up eventually. So, you got to think about it like this, Elaine, or anyone else watching this, is your time is limited. And, if your time isn't focused on the highest priority of task, then you're limiting yourself, right? So the moment that you're spending hours a day, 3, 4, 5, 6, even at one point I was spending 10 hours a day literally on customer service. You should have hired an employee a long time ago. If you're spending a few hours a day on customer service and the profit is good enough, that's another thing, right? Is, if you're making $3 to $5 grand a month profit, then you can definitely afford to hire a customer service rep from the Philippines for $800 a month. You're helping them, you're helping yourself. Another outsourced task that you don't need profit is listing products. So if you start your high ticket store and you have some money in the bank, a few $1,000s, then it's probably worth it to pay someone a few $100 to list all your products, because it will expedite the process. It took me like 3 months to list, 100 products, 200, I don't even know, where I could have hired someone to do that in a week. So. Yep.
No, I mean, it's a good question for sure. And that's a point, that's a big milestone too, outsourcing for the first time. Was there a time where you picked a niche that didn't work out, and how did you know when to give up on the niche/website? So, I mean, like we say, we say go generic, so you never have to abandon a website. You don't really give up on niches. Honestly, you really just give up on suppliers. Yeah. So it's, there's never been a time where I've said, all right, this entire industry doesn't work for my store. It's more about, all right, this supplier needed to spend this much money to make this amount of sales, and I'm not profitable, so I need to cut them.
Yeah.
You'll cut, like I said, suppliers in the niche, but not the entire niche.
And I actually cut off a niche store once, and that site is actually the site that you've probably seen, Elaine, in the course, Scope Department. And I didn't even cut it off because the niche wasn't good. Honestly, I cut it off because I was just too busy. My partner on the store was too busy. We were both too busy, so we just said screw it. But honestly, I'm sure that there's more suppliers in the Scope niche that we could have found, that we could have been making money with. But we both just had so many other stores, so many other things going on that we just didn't have the time to do it. So, like Mike said, we've never really cut off a niche. I'll give you a good example. On one of my sites, I have like 20 suppliers of the same niche, and they're all selling the exact same product, but yet 2 or 3 of the suppliers make all the money and the other 17 don't. So it's like, imagine I called the first 15 and gave up after that. Like Mike said, we just cut off suppliers, never give up on the niche. I've seen people make so much money in niches that I didn't think were, quote, good niches. But again, we don't give up on niches. We give up on suppliers. We look for everything and anything that fits the price point and has low competition.
Yeah, exactly. And, that being said, 1, we don't give up on niches. And 2, we don't give up on niches before we even start. So, people ask, what niches to stay away from. And while maybe, there's a couple we wouldn't recommend, there is money to be made, in my opinion, in every niche. Obviously, Elaine, you're in the course, the criteria. Just go out, find suppliers that fit that criteria, and give them a shot. Yeah. Elaine, sorry for all the questions. Never have to apologize for questions. We love it. I hope you're getting value. Corbin, love the content. Thank you, Corbin. Appreciate you.
Does she have one more question, Elaine?
I did skip over Elaine. I said I love her questions, and I dubbed it. What are the top things on websites that suppliers have been turned off by?
I would say just inconsistencies. One, like we said, don't have the supplier's product on your site. Have similar products. Don't have that product. Make sure the About Us is good. Make sure the banner, the logo, make sure everything looks good. Everything looks legit. and you should be fine. Just don't have inconsistencies. If you have inconsistencies, that will turn off the supplier. But let them know that you're ready to make money right away. And once you're actually running ads and making money, I promise you, closing suppliers just gets so much easier.
Yep. Exactly. Dazar, how long are you guys willing to test before cutting off a supplier? So good question, Dazar. That's a question that we get a lot. It's honestly like a lot of questions, unfortunately, like this. It really depends. It's very subjective. If a supplier has really great margins and, most of their products, I can profit $600. At this point, especially, I'm probably willing to get up to, right around that break-even point. Now, if the profit is right around 200 to 300, for me, this is a very, very broad rule of thumb because it does depend. I would double it. So if I profit $300 on most of their products, I'll usually be willing to go up to like 500 or 600. If I still don't make a single sale, then I'll probably cut them. And obviously, these numbers that I'm throwing out, these are based on making sure that the segmentation and system is in place. And so this is kind of more for the members. Guys, people, if you're running ads, make sure that everything is in place. Make sure the branded keywords are where they should be, because, when you get to wasting money on, maybe whatever it is, generic keywords, whatever, your results, it's kind of tougher to tell when to cut a supplier and when not to. If you wasted $100 on nonsense keywords, then do you really count that towards? So my point is, make sure the segmentation is on point. That'll make the whole system go smoother if you do that in the ads.
Yeah, and if it isn't on point, it's like you really can't judge the supplier, because it's really the ads that are the problem. And also, Desar and anyone else listening to this, especially when you're making money, like there's no reason to be aggressive with a new supplier. If they haven't made sales yet, just let them spend very slowly, right? Make the supplier prove themselves to you before you start, going crazy and spending a lot of money on them. So,
yep. Andreas, Mike, what I meant about cultural change is that is a continual improvement of quality that will consist of your values, traditions, and procedures. A lot of people are scared of change to get better. Okay, thank you for clarifying that, Andreas, because you are 1,000,000% right. And you used values, and I love that word. Values is really what you are at your core. And if you don't have your values, then if your values aren't in shape, then you as a person really aren't your best self. Yep. And so obviously, like the rest of what you said, your routine, I feel like you were pretty much describing routine. I think that's such a huge part of success. Also, is getting into a success routine. Switching things, changing Netflix for a book. Instead of listening to maybe music on the ride to work, maybe listen to an audio, maybe listen to this live stream later, whatever it is. There's always something that you can probably be doing to better yourself. So just do it.
Yep, exactly.
Alex Seeley, Ayo, I got to go, but this was dope. Keep enjoying the West guys. Ski Tao in the winter. You won't regret it. We appreciate you. He's probably not with us anymore, but yes, for those of you guys who don't know, we have been living in Las Vegas for the past couple of weeks. We'll be here for the time. So, like I said, the content is coming. That's our favorite word, Expect more than just sit-down podcasts. Elaine, are all of your domain names ending in .com? I have one ending in .co, and hope it doesn't turn off a supplier. I know it's pretty subjective.
Yeah, definitely very subjective. But, yeah, all of ours are .com. However, I am taking one of my stores to Canada, so I will have a .ca. But, yeah, stick them all in .com. That's what I do. But if it's .co, if it's a really good domain, I don't think it'll turn off a supplier.
Yeah. No, good question. But, yeah, that looks like all the questions. So, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, Jared. But, like I said, we're going to be switching it up. So, we're going to be continuing our one-on-one dialogues, our lives. You guys ask some questions. But, we're going to be doing some fun things. Like I said, we're out west. We're finally living on our own for the first time. So, we got a new camera. We're going to be doing some exploring, maybe some vlogging, and we'll be sharing all of that with you guys. So, thank you for watching. I recently hopped on Instagram. If you guys want to give me a follow, it's at Cash Lopez, Ecom Jared. Please comment what you guys want us to see and what you guys want to see. What do you want us to talk about? We will get to it. We appreciate every single one of you for sticking with us.
Well, yeah, and obviously, guys, We have the free ebook, havemorethanmoney.com. I always have to mention this because the book is great. Everyone that's read it really enjoys it. I'm sure you will too. And if you want mentorship from us, also havemorethanmoney.com. Just hit the sign up button. We're happy to work with you. And yeah, if you want to reach out to us, you can DM us on Instagram or just join the program and we'll reach out to you.
All right. Yep. We'll catch you guys next time. You guys